Ouch, was that a ghost?
Ouch, was that a ghost?
Woodless,
And Lee.
let's just cut the crap and get right into the first episode.
We're closer to Turkey Day and I'm very excited.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Don't they have a gobble commercial? I'm sure they don't play it anymore because it sounds sexual, but what? Gobble doesn't make you think of gobble, gobble?
Not until now.
There was a commercial with gobble in it, and now I can't think of it. If you could have Thanksgiving right now, what would your ideal Thanksgiving dinner be?
And there's no repercussions.
No repercussions.
I'd have baked stuffed shrimp because I'm allergic to shrimp now, and
That's
I
the
can't
most
eat it
depressing
anymore.
thing.
But I miss my uncle's baked stuffed shrimp because he'd put like crab in the stuffing, and that was always my favorite thing. And then my Aunt
Love
Mary
it.
Lou always made these cheese stuffed potatoes, like the double cooked ones with like the
My
cheese.
mom
and they
does it.
mash it up, and I love Brussels sprouts. I know that that's so gross to a lot of people, but I love Brussels sprouts with
I'm in the same
Thanksgiving.
boat. Not for Thanksgiving, but I do love them.
And I'd say mashed potatoes, but I already have those potatoes going on.
The cheesy potato. Oh my god, I could literally
love
sit there
those.
and eat like. I'm not gonna lie, I can eat like 7 cheesy potatoes after my meal, and after I
Wait.
already had a cheesy potato on my plate, so 8
They are
in total.
so good. And
They are
your
so
deviled
good.
eggs, I love so much.
Oh,
Because a lot of people leave them chunky and you make sure it's smooth all the way through. And I hate when you go to get a deviled egg and it's like not mixed properly or it has no seasoning at all in it. Yours are like perfect too.
And you know what's so gross? But I love, and I don't care, judge me if you want, but I love the smell of my farts after eating. I purposely
Ew.
eat tons of deviled eggs just so I can smell my farts all night.
What is wrong with you?
I love it! And I can finally get Brandon back for all his farts.
I thought you were going to be like, I really like the smell of broccoli cooking or something weird like that. But then you're like, oh, I really like the smell of my deviled egg farts. Like,
You
what?
don't love your egg yolk farts? No, there's definitely people out there. If you love your egg yolk farts, please make sure to comment on this episode because I know I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Don't do this to me. Don't make me feel weird.
Or Brandon.
I just opened up to you and you laughed.
When my son was little, he used to try to say smart, but he couldn't, and it would just come out as fart. So he'd be like, oh, that's really fart, but not the nasty, disgusting kind.
That is so cute.
The SM always came out as F. So fart and fart sounded the same.
But not the nasty, disgusting kind. I freaking love kids.
But, all right, let's just jump right back into the story. Let's
back
jump
in.
into
We never
the
started.
story. Today, I'm covering Miriam Elizabeth Rodriguez Martinez.
Where's she from?
Ella nació el 5 de febrero.
Ooh.
She was born February 5th, 1960.
Oh my gosh. The fact that I know Spanish and I thought you were telling me where she was from, I didn't realize you were telling me her birthday. Sitting here like, okay, she's from the 5th of February. Oh my gosh.
In San Fernando, I don't know how to say this, Tamaulipas, Mexico. Married and had 3 children, Karen, Luis, and Acelia. In 2011, there was a massacre that occurred there where in her area, Los Zetas was a part of the Gulf cartel.
That's why I'm so scared to travel to Mexico, because those fuckers are ruthless. Like, that's so... I'm sorry, what was the name of the cartel? The Zetas?
Gulf cartel. No, Los Zetas is like a subsection of the Gulf cartel.
Okay.
And in 2011, they went in and did just like this huge massacre to that area of Mexico. They hijacked buses, they broke into homes, and just picked up whoever they wanted to traffic. And anyone that tried to resist or run, they didn't get far, and it ended in the senseless slaughter of almost 200 people.
So sad. So they literally just attacked just to get traffickers.
Yeah. And the victims would not even be returned to the families. They would be tossed into mass graves or abandoned in farm areas. So they weren't even like letting the families bury these people that they went and like slaughtered. They just took them all.
So sad.
So a large group of people in this area were scared by this uncontrollable chaos, obviously. They fled in like droves out of there. One article described it as a mass exodus. And Miriam's son, Louis, was included, and he fled the area. Her and her other daughter did not flee. She stayed to help her mother at her store, which was Rodeo Boots.
Nice.
On January 23rd, 2012, Karen was driving down the street one day in her truck in 2012, and her truck was just blocked in. Like, they had two people just, like, go in front of it and kind of make, like, a V so she couldn't go anywhere. And these armed men just, like, jumped in the truck, took over the truck, and brought Karen with them. And they actually brought Karen back to her own house, and then they contacted her parents with the ransom demands. The demands were that she was to go to a nearby clinic, drop off the money. I couldn't find a specific amount of money that it was. And then once the money was dropped over there, she was to go to a nearby cemetery and wait for instructions. What the abductors at the house were not expecting was that a family friend would stop by the house to work on a car for the family. They took Karen and the family friend, and then they left waiting for the ransom money to be ready for pickup. Now, what's mind-blowing to hear in this city, the banks there actually had loans available for ransom payouts.
That's insane.
So, like, if you had a family member, you could walk in and be like, all right, what do you need? $5,000 to get my niece back, you know?
That's so sad. It's so mind baffling to me. Like, why do you continue to live there? Like, I know it's all you know. You've grown up there, but like at a point, maybe it's better for the family to just leave.
Maybe they can't financially. I don't know. And some people just on principles. Like, I've lived here my whole life. I'm not leaving.
But is it worth it?
I don't know. So Miriam went and secured the money, and she waited for a call back from the cartel, which never came. So she went to the authorities to get help, and no one really did anything. So Miriam was like, all right, this is not acceptable. So she started reaching out to the cartel on her own. She managed to get a sit down with a man who had a portable radio on him. And at one point, she heard someone call him Sama, which was really like her only clue to even identify who took her daughter. So he said he didn't have her daughter, but for a fee, he could help get her back. So Miriam handed him over $2,000, and she waited. And nothing. And she was contacted by the gang again later on when they just asked her for another $500. And then these other men took her money and didn't help her either.
Like, don't they make a shit ton of money? Why the hell are they sitting there like, oh, let's hit her up, see if she got 500 real quick?
Yeah, this poor, like, mother that's trying to raise children. So by this time, Miriam and her husband divorced, and she was living with her oldest daughter, Azalea, who told her mom that her sister was, like, gone and they just have to accept it and move on.
Oh, my God. That's
and Miriam was like, yeah, this is not going to be the end of it. Like, I'm going to hunt down these people and try to get my daughter back.
That's a mother's love.
Yes. Don't mess with a mama bear.
Literally.
So Miriam's only clue, like I said, was the name Sama. By this time, the family friend who walked in, remember the one that went to, like, fix the car?
Oh, so they let the family friend go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you just find out now. So the family friend who walked in when Karen was being held at the house was let go so Miriam could prod them for information. And this person confirmed that Sama was part of Karen's kidnapping. Miriam took to the internet like the youngins do and just, like, scoured social media and started investigating herself because no one else was doing anything. So she was over any social media platform that you can find. And after days of digging, she struck gold. She found a picture of someone who looked like Sama, and she scoured the picture for clues. And a woman also in the picture standing next to him was in a uniform for an ice cream shop. And the ice cream shop was located in Ciudad Victoria, which was a few hours away. So Miriam drove out to the ice cream shop, and for weeks, not days, weeks, she sat outside and waited and watched until she saw the woman from the photo. Miriam, in badass Miriam fashion, dyed her hair red. She used an old job uniform she had lying around and went door to door conducting local surveys.
This is a true story?
This is a true story.
Wow. Okay.
The uniform, it was a health ministry worker. I don't really know what that means. She was gathering as much information as she could. She wanted answers and justice for her daughter. And she was bringing whatever she found to the authorities. And finally, a police officer was willing to help her. With the family friend's testimony, they were able to get the police to issue a warrant for Sama. And then when they went to go pick up Sama, he just vanished. So fast forward to September 2014. Now remember Luis, her son, who fled from the area?
Yep.
He was working at a store nearby, and the store was about to close up shop, and he spotted Sama. So Sama was taken into custody, and during his interrogation, he started naming names. Zapata Gonzalez, who was quickly apprehended. Now, Miriam, you would think, would be fuming, but no, Miriam saw Zapata was only 18 years old, and she treated him with kindness, which in turn led Zapata to revealing Karen's location. So, just a side note, a quote from an officer who wanted to be anonymous is the details and information gathered by this woman working all alone were incredible.
I'm just like baffled. Like this woman literally just is like going up against the cartel. She's like finding all these people by herself, and like that just goes to show like how shitty the police force was. Like, how does she have all this information and you guys have nothing? You guys
That's
clearly
like,
you just don't care.
it's like the mamas that are out there like lifting up cars. I don't know if they don't care because it's in Mexico. They have such huge
Yeah.
problems. So I don't know
That's
where this
true.
lays on their priority list, but it is still a huge priority. But she wasn't waiting around for anybody. She was just like, I'll do
Right.
it.
As she
So
should.
now,
As she should.
yeah. So now Badass Miriam went to the location she got, and it was a rundown, bullet-ridden ranch. So Miriam herself just started digging through the dirt, looking for any clues that her daughter was ever there. And there was her daughter's scarf. I can only imagine the agony of seeing this, on a bullet-ridden ranch.
Yeah.
Like, that probably just made her heart sink. Like, okay, this is probably how she's not
Yeah.
alive anymore. But her being the badass she is, brought this information to the police, who then had a reason to search the site. It was later described as a mass grave with dozens of victims, and the police informed her that her daughter was not there. So Miriam was like, yeah, I'm not accepting that answer. You guys got to check again. My daughter's scarf was there, and she just nagged him and nagged him until they went back and did another search, and they found Karen's femur. So Miriam at this point was obviously devastated, but she wanted justice.
Yeah.
So this many bodies in one area suggested to Miriam that it was probably the cartel. The cartel in that area was running wild for decades now, with 70,000 missing people, all assumed
Oh shit.
because of the cartel.
Mhm.
So going up against them undoubtedly could potentially put herself and her family members at risk. Miriam and her daughter Azalea were out having a nice meal together when Miriam remembered running into a woman named Avelia Uliza while she was like out poking around, like, hey, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen Karen? And a lot of people were like, no, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But when she did ask, Alvia was just like really cagey and just kind of weird. Like, it was a really small town and everybody knows everybody. And she was just really evasive and elusive. And for some reason, when she was sitting at the restaurant with her daughter right there, it just kind of popped back into her head. You know how something feels off, but you don't really think about it until like weeks later and you're just like,
Yeah, and it just randomly hits you.
Yeah, so it hit her there, and it was just really odd. So Miriam went back on social media. It showed that Yulisa, that girl, had cartel ties. She had actually dated one of the men who was in prison for Karen's abduction. So one of the kidnappers' calls came from Yulisa's home phone. So now they had a reason to bring Yulisa in, and she was arrested too. She knew a man, Enrique Flores, was involved through intel, and she befriended his grandmother, and through conversation found out where he went to church and that he was a born-again Christian. And she went to the church and watched him at the service until the time was right, and then she abducted him. And arrested him.
Oh.
Not abducted.
What?
She detained him.
She detained him. Okay.
Yeah, until he was arrested. So a few years passed, and she was still investigating. She was hunted down, person by person that was responsible for her daughter's death.
Wow.
And she actually spent one full year tracking down one man. I couldn't find his name, but he was said to have sold flowers on the streets before joining the cartel and taken part of what happened to her daughter. And she tracked him to like the Texas-Mexican border. And thanks to the different tips she received, she found this man selling sunglasses amongst like other street vendors. So Miriam was packing, and she went up and she was approaching him, and he recognized her. So the young man just jetted, and Miriam, who's 56 at the time, caught up to him, tackled him, and held him at gunpoint.
Damn.
And she was like, if you move, I'll shoot you. And she held him there for at least an hour until the police arrived to arrest him.
Wow.
So now remember, this is the cartel, and she got threat after threat. And during these years, of Miriam seeking justice, she was responsible for at least 10 a-holes being arrested that had part in her daughter's death.
I'm so surprised no one came after her family.
Oh, she was getting death threats left and right.
Yeah, but no one actually acted on it. I'm so surprised. I mean, thank God they didn't, but I'm so surprised.
I saw one article. I don't know if it's true. I only saw it in one place. That's why I didn't include it, but I'm going to say it anyways. That somebody tried to abduct her husband while she was still married, and she scared him off.
No,
But I only saw that in one article, so I was like, eh.
and she scared him off. She's giving me Jamie Lee vibes
It's
from
like Liam
Halloween.
Neeson in a wig. So Miriam used various disguises, fake IDs, and even fake handguns to locate, interrogate members of the most dangerous individuals in the country. Miriam became a beacon of hope for Mexico. She was in her 50s and a single person up against thousands of cartel gang members. And once she completed what she felt needed to be done for Karen, she helped other families do the same. So finally, the Mexican government decided to assist her and gave her an armed escort.
Oh, okay.
After all this time. This is 2017. So this is 5 years later they're helping. So at the end of April 2017, she captured another gang member allegedly involved with her daughter's abduction. Unfortunately, on May 10th, 2017, which is Mexican Mother's Day, some men arrived at her home and burst through the front door and shot her 12 times, and Miriam did not survive. She passed away at the age of 50. She passed away on the way to the hospital.
What a way to go. She did not go without a fight. She made a real difference. She's fucking badass. She is awesome.
Right?
Wow, that's so sad. I mean, I think she was mentally prepared to get got at any moment. But
yeah, but she was like, it's for my daughter. I don't care.
Yeah,
she turned into freaking Hulk.
Difference. Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. And how crazy is that on Mother's Day too? What assholes.
Right? They were probably like, oh, she's going to be home celebrating. So they do that then. A-holes. So the city broke out into protests demanding the government change things up. So Louis, her son, he did carry on his mother's legacy by heading up the support group, the Vanished Collective. A quote from David Agan from The Guardian goes, in the 10 years since the Mexican government declared an all-out war on organized crime, some 200,000 people have been murdered and more than 30,000 reported as disappeared. Miriam's badassery kept going after her murder. A month later, that's how else can you describe her?
We need to make a shirt. Badassery. Badassery. I love that.
So a month later, a woman was arrested on a tip. So this was after she passed away. Another woman was arrested on a tip Miriam gave authorities. So this woman supposedly tortured Karen during her abduction, and Miriam got the end of the justice that Karen deserved. And that's the story of Miriam, the superhero badass mama bear.
Even after she died, she's still bringing these people down.
Yep. She was like, all right, now I'm done. Wow, and I saw that there was a movie based on her called La Civil. I haven't seen it yet, but I have to.
I have this type of thing. It might be my OCD, or maybe I just want to be an actress so bad. When I start watching, my life is a movie. So when I start watching a show or watch a movie and I really like the character, I go a week straight acting like them. So,
oh, really?
Yes. So I'm going to watch this movie, and then anyone who comes near Gianni, I'm just going to be like, yeah. So stay back after I watch it. Cool. Proud of myself.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening.
If you have a story you'd like us to share, email us at ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com.
Don't forget to follow our Facebook page, Ouch, Was That a Ghost?